Hi, welcome to Right Brain Rescue Podcast. My name is Dr. Lara Salyer, and I have interviews here that will inspire, invigorate, and ignite your creative flow. Because my mission is to elevate creativity to the platform as the sixth vital sign. It is essential to everyone's well-being. Here I will examine the flow state as people tell me how they nurture it. It's the secret to vitality and longevity. We'll combine tips from neuroscience, functional medicine, and positive psychology so we can teach you how to tap into your unique creativity so you can start living with a renewed sense of authenticity, purpose, and joy. And I want you to welcome our first guest. This is Kim Love. She is a longtime friend of mine since 1987, perhaps, where we rocked the perms and the clarinets together. She is a mom of two. She has her dental hygiene associate and also has the ACE Health Coaching Certificate. And she is working for Stacy Summers' Body Talk program. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing my wonderful past photo.
Thanks for coming on. It has been a whirlwind of a friendship. And tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're at today.
Okay, so gosh, this was the first serious question you're going to ask me. So I practiced really hard. I love this question. I always feel like, all right, so how much do I share about myself? You know, how much time does everybody have? We could be here all day.
Right.
But I won't keep everybody. So my name is Kim Love, and I'm from Waukegan. Whoop, whoop.
Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs. Yes, not the Raiders. Okay, so my background is actually in dental hygiene, like you mentioned. I'd done that for I don't know, over 20 years or so. And then I moved to Cheeseville about 5 years ago and reconnected with you, which was amazing. And there were just some things that had changed in my life, and I decided to pursue a new passion. So off I went to get my certification in health coaching. And now I do this wonderful program called Body Talk. And so Body Talk is an online program that's global, open to anybody. And what we do is we help people learn how to become their own health, fitness, and nutrition experts. So it's really empowering. It's wonderful to see people go into these health journeys for so many different reasons. And I just love it.
That's awesome.
That's it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. I can imagine with your personality, though, you probably connect with so many people. You've had your own health journey. And I bet, did that play a part in your decision?
I would say that it nurtured a lot of my decision. I feel like, honestly, like my story in my own health journey has really helped me relate to people, and sharing my story is really helping change stories, where before I didn't really feel like there was enough value to my story. I always felt that my health story was more something that I should keep private, because I didn't feel like it was big enough or important enough to really matter to anybody else. And once I got my health coaching certificate, I really started to feel like imposter syndrome, which I talked to about with quite a few friends. I think maybe even you and I talked about that a little bit, but I remember thinking, well, who will trust me to help them lose weight? I'm not a weight loss person. I really feel like when we think about health, or when a lot of people think about health, it has a lot to do with weight, which is definitely an important thing, but there's so many other things that are important. And for me, my health story began when I got melanoma, which was almost 10 years ago, actually, probably within the next 2 weeks, I think was when that diagnosis came in. And so I'm really on a mission to not just help people lose weight, but to help them hopefully avoid a lot of these other diseases that they're at risk for, really unknowingly half the time. Because I was feeling like I was this extremely healthy person because I was thin, and what did I have to worry about? And then that happened. So that's my mission, is to really help people be healthy before they end up in that boat.
That's awesome. And you're absolutely right. I think everybody on this earth has a little bit of imposter syndrome at some point in their life. And that's the creative process, is I think we talked earlier, there's like a bullet point list of this idea is great. This idea is hard. Oh no, this idea is crap. Oh, I don't think it's going to be good at all. And then you get back and go, no, it has value. And that's imposter syndrome. And a lot of people stop right at that crucial point when if they just push through and realize they can connect to other people, whether it's through their occupation or sharing their story or through their art. I think all of us have that creativity in there, and you're using that now in your new career, connecting with people because you have a very vivacious personality. And yes, absolutely. Would you? And I think that's just one facet of how we connect as humans and share our experience on this earth, because that really is what art is just connecting and speaking a language that may not have words, or in your case, lots of words, right?
Yes, I have lots to say. Sometimes I talk too much. That's what my children tell me. That's what my husband tells me.
That's awesome. That means you're doing your job, right? Right, of course, of course. So I know that you and I sat together and played clarinet in 7th grade, but would you consider yourself a creative person?
So I would say yes. I do feel like I'm a creative person. I think from all of this change that I've gone through, and talking to you and learning more about everything that you're doing, I know I'm creative from the things that I've done and what I'm creating on my own, because there's a lot of stuff that I do in my career now that I am responsible for solely. And if I'm not doing it or thinking about it, and that's not to say that I'm coming up with every idea on my own. There's definitely, like, I'm plucking things from all these people and all these podcasts, which, by the way, I'm like a complete junkie with now. Like I feel like you can learn so much from podcasts.
Oh, what's your favorite? Can you give me a quick list? Okay,
I love the Jenna Kutcher Gold Digger podcast. I love, well, it was Deus, but now it's Rise with Rachel Hollis. I love the Right Brain Rescue.
Oh, of course.
And I love Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn.
Ooh, I love sharing podcast likes, because it's sort of like in the 80s when you would share your cassette tapes and go, what music do you like? I love it. The first thing I ask somebody is like, what podcast do you listen to? And I love, my recent fave is one called Terrible, Thanks for Asking. And it's a podcast about people who have actually really hard stories. So, somebody on the street asks, oh, how you doing? Everybody says, I'm fine. So all these people have terrible stories, but they're allowed to share them and they feel connected. So it's kind of cool.
I love that. I'm going to have to look that one up, because that makes me think, like, and the really cool thing about podcasts is you listen to one that you like, and then they'll tell you about another one, and then you're like hooked on just one more. You have to click that subscribe button. But that's how I find the other ones that I love. And right now, obviously, for what I'm doing, I'm listening to all these like business type podcasts and what can help me and what can motivate me and point me in the right direction to hopefully improve and help more people. And I love that you said that about like these life stories and how there's like bad things that are happening, and people are always like, oh, I'm fine. And you're not that you can just unload on anybody. Right. But there's a lady, I'm going to forget her name, Dr. Susan something. Anyway, she's an author for Emotional Agility. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's really interesting because she talks about that. And I thought that was so important. And I feel like it helps me. When I studied for my health coaching certificate, we really learn how to help people with their behaviors. It's so much more than just food and exercise. But she talks about how people need to give themselves permission, and other people, more importantly, need to allow people that permission to say, I'm not doing okay. Yeah. And she was talking about her friend who had breast cancer. And she said, everyone was saying to me, you just need to be positive. If you just be positive, you'll be better. You'll feel better. You'll heal better. And her friend said one day, I don't want to be positive. I don't feel very positive about that.
Right.
She's like, that's okay. We need to be able to feel bad about stuff.
Absolutely. And I think this is such a great culture shift that you're talking about. There's a lot more health coaches. There's a lot more turning that cognitive flexibility around and saying, whoa, we got to rethink our emotions here. We're teaching kids now to be more accepting of emotions because it's human nature. There's something called the ostrich effect, like sticking your head in the sand, where humans will go to huge lengths to avoid pain rather than having pleasure. If they had a choice of something that's pleasurable versus avoiding pain, they would rather avoid pain, which is why people don't want to know the diagnosis. They don't want to get tested. They don't want, and so what you're doing is you're teaching people to have that flexibility and that different perspective to take a look at your health and be more empowered. And that's awesome. Yeah. And actually that's a big, and that's a big part of creativity is what you did, which is you took pieces of different podcasts or different recommendations and you're weaving them together for your own narrative and your own business. And that is what creativity is. It's basically redoing, people would say, oh, that's plagiarism or that's stealing. No, that's just being creative. Think of bands that do cover tunes and they put their own spin on it,
Yeah. I mean, it has to come from somewhere, and we all can't do everything on our own, but yeah, if you take bits and pieces, you're going to create your own masterpiece, even with all those other ideas and tips. So
absolutely, because no one on this earth has your perspective. No one on this earth has the Kim Love stamp on that creation. And
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the permission part of the piece that I love you brought it up, is telling everybody to have permission to explore their creativity, explore what's unique about them and what signature stamp they put on the world, because that needs to happen. We're not automated, and you're doing your career now showing people like, the one size fits all doesn't fit.
No, it totally doesn't fit. And I did used to think that creativity was all about us playing our clarinets.
Right.
I thought, it's got to be that I do well in art, or that I'm a good chef, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole coloring inside the lines. This is what I shared yesterday.
I love that you said that. And you're right. It's like having that, we are kind of given these narratives, like what we think an athlete is. I had the same mental block.
Yes.
I'm not an athlete. And a lot of people have that mental block. I'm not creative. And it's not that, I got a B in art. I don't think I ever got an A in art, and it's like, you can be creative.
You didn't?
No, never.
Really? I thought you got A's in everything.
Stop. You're so funny. And it's like you're doing what everyone should be, is this turning everything on its head and just trying something different and creating your own definition of that. So I love it. Yes, it's not just about clarinets, although that is the best instrument, right?
Yes, it is. Toot toot.
Toot toot. So what is do you have a recent really proud creative moment that you had where you're like, man, that was pretty unique and cool? And
no, because this question makes me think of what's your favorite color?
Oh, sure. Or your favorite child.
Oh, golly, I would never answer that question. Yeah, that's a hard one for me. I'll be honest.
Well, I would say if I could, I don't want to judge, but I think everything you put out there in social media is so creative, because you put life to the story. Like, you have a personal touch, but it's also factual, and it makes people want to learn more. I mean, you put your journey out there, but you also give tips on how to think differently about health. And that would be what I would think is creative. I mean, the definition of creativity is simply something new and useful, and you hit them both on the head.
Laura.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, I tried. That's the fun part. That's been the weird part for me too, is using my creativity to do something that's necessary for my job, that I have to not care what anybody else thinks either.
Right.
Because social media is a huge part of what I'm doing and how I need to promote my business. And I just need to do it. Where before I'd be like, well, I don't know if I should share that. Is that too quirky? Is that too weird? Is that too, does it sound too smart? I'm just like, nope, I'm just going to put it out there the way I want to and do it. I'm just going to do me. You said be your authentic self.
Absolutely.
When you opened up your doors a year ago, it wasn't just over a year ago. Right. I remember you were talking about that. And I still remember you standing on that chair just thinking, that is so amazing. Forget be like Mike. I want to be like that for Laura. And it's yes, that totally spoke to me though, because where I was a year ago, I could so relate, I just felt so stuck. I felt well, what else can I do? What should I do? And once you talk about these creative nuggets, just kind of coming out, it's like a popcorn popping. I felt like the kernels were just laying there, begging for the oil. Over a year ago, and then I fed them, and they just started popping, and then going, and then I had this whole giant bowl of popcorn. It tastes so good. So
I love it. That's a great analogy. That is so good, because what you're doing is you're practicing that. The more creative, the more you step into that space and allow yourself permission, like you said, it's you can't stop. The ideas keep coming, and I love that you did that.
It's so fun.
It is fun.
And popcorn is good. Popcorn's really good.
I love it. Popcorn is awesome. Do you have any special seasonings you put on your popcorn?
So my friend, actually, Holly, she uses coconut oil. So that's definitely healthier. But I love lemon pepper. Lemon
Very
pepper
good.
seasoning on your popcorn is actually really good.
I'm gonna have to try that. That does
Yeah.
sound good.
Or just a little bit of butter. I'm kind of pretty simple.
Yeah, yeah. Grass-fed butter, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. Now, okay, so you obviously are getting more and more comfortable with your innate creative self. What about if you had a colleague who is very staunchly opinionated, saying they have zero creativity? What word of advice would you give them?
So I think that your creative side, I would probably tell them to look at like what matters to them, what's important to them, because what I'm creative in isn't necessarily going to be the same for them. So I think you have to force somebody. I don't know if force is necessarily the right word, but it sounds kind of like aggressive, but I feel like people really do need to look at themselves and figure out what's important to them, what matters to them, and what do they want to do with this information that they have to share, because that's what's going to help them bring out their creative side. You know, like my husband loves writing. So if he ever wanted to do something, like he should totally talk about bikes. He knows so much about bikes. If you told me to talk about bikes to get creative, I wouldn't have anything for you. Like zero, zilch, nada. So I would tell them like, look at what is important to you. And
that's really good advice, because like you said, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar, and I'm sure in a lot of the health coaching, you talk about body scans, scan your body. Where is the tightness? Where's the looseness? You kind of learn to zero in, but until we actually concentrate on each piece, we would never really know. Right. And so what we do in Right Brain Rescue is it's like a sandbox. It's like getting people to play and to learn and to go, wow, I really like that piece. I'm going to try more of that. And whoa, I gave myself permission every day for 15 days or however long you take to complete it, and for them to graduate and go, this was awesome, and I'm learning that I have rekindled this silent and oppressed part in my life that I want to nurture. So yeah, I mean, it's just giving people that idea of trying without failing, because I think part of us, I'm sure as adults, we all have this fake it till you make it. We don't want to fail. We want to do everything good, and creativity is about being not self-conscious, and just like you said, I'm quirky, I'm putting it out there, and that's awesome.
Yes, actually, that was a recent post I did, got like a lot of likes. And I asked somebody who's a good friend of mine, actually two of them, I'm like, is this like what people want from me? Is this like they want my dorky side? They're like, you're not dorky, you're quirky. I'm like, okay, either way, it's fine.
It is. It's
I just like to have fun and be silly. So that's what you're going to see.
That is awesome. In fact, there was like a study that showed the more we try to conform, it's ironic. Conformity does not allow connection for a tribe or friendship. It's actually the more quirky you are, you get more friends, because whatever quirky you define, or if you're like a computer person, if you're whatever you are, and you just are unabashedly just confident, like this is who I am, it is more attractive, and people want to be around that. Because
oh my gosh, I get to be attractive? I'm never attractive.
Oh, come on. You rocked the perm.
Oh my gosh. And the scrunchie. The scrunchie is coming back.
It is. My daughter had one on her wrist, and I'm like, take them off. What are you doing?
I saw a teenager the other day with one on her wrist, and I said to my mom, I was with my mom, like, Mom, did you see that?
Yes.
She had the scrunchie on her wrist. Like, it's making a comeback.
I know. I'm waiting for the pinch and roll of the jeans. Let's do this. Let's do this.
That's terrible. And the
although I don't know, if I could pick a decade, I want to bring back the flannel, the Doc Martens, the 90s. I thought that was very comfortable.
Yes.
I don't know.
That was high school, wasn't it?
Yeah, college-y, high school. Yeah. So okay, so let's move on to flow. Now you can define that however you want, but flow is actually when time feels like it's standing still and you're engaged in an activity that is not too hard, but it's also not too easy. So it's a perfect balance of being into it, so much so that you feel a lack of self-consciousness, and you're very excited and engaged, and it feels like time speeds up and just is over in a moment. And you look at the clock and it's been like 6 hours. So some people describe it as being in the flow or in the zone, or highly engaged. So some athletes say, it's that time when you're about to do like a free throw and time stands still and you're in the zone and you're feeling like you have all your capacities about you. Would you say you've ever had that experience?
Okay, so you're going to laugh, but my first thought, because I want to be super honest, the first thing that comes to mind is a Lifetime movie. Okay? Lifetime Movie Network. I'm still in my zone. And then the movie's over, I was like, it was so good. But I'm pretty sure that's not what you're looking for.
That's awesome.
So the second thing that comes to mind is truly when I talk to people, I feel like so in my zone. I feel like I just love talking and I can't make it stop sometimes. But the other
Word
thing,
incontinence, yes.
yes, the other thing would probably be when I'm working out, but more importantly, when I'm doing certain types of workouts, which is actually in my profile, but I love, love, love to jump. Like jumping's my thing. I just feel like I'm floating in the air for forever. And
Aw.
I just love it. Like if it's not plyo day, I'm a little disappointed, you know? So
Okay, so
all about,
I've seen you do a lot of double unders, and you've really
yes.
like kind of taken that as a challenge, which I love. Like something as simple as jumping, people would say, how can that be flow? But what you did is exactly the recipe we teach people, that if you want to find some flow, take an easy activity and then challenge yourself with it by giving yourself
Oh,
tasks. So for you, a simple jumping, you're like, no, I want to do double unders. And then you're like, no,
yeah.
I'm going to, see how many of those I can do. And
Oh, I like that.
yeah, so you kind of did your own little flow
I
mastery.
I did like I do like double unders. I didn't always used to know how to do those, and then I discovered that I was good at it. And I discovered as an adult that I was good at jumping. But what happened a long time ago was I got really like pissed off that I couldn't jump because I was tiny. And I was told, well, you're going to be a setter because you're short in volleyball. Because people will say to me now, like,
Ooh,
how can you jump so high? I'm like, well, I got really mad a long time ago.
I love it.
And so I practiced at it, and I never really lost it because it's just kind of come back again. It's like riding a bike, I guess.
Yeah,
But I love it. I love my
I
jump.
love
If
this.
I had to take like one workout piece of equipment with me, it would be my jump rope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is, I would love to see you do like a little series on just different jump things that people can try.
Oh, that would
You
be
know,
so fun.
like a 7-day jump rope challenge, and each day it's something different.
Ooh,
You know,
you're so creative.
it's synergy. It's synergy. But I also love that you took a challenge. You got angry and used your emotion to be creative, and that's a huge inspiration for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Wha-
turn into something positive, right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now, okay, do you feel like, is there ever a time that you crave being in the flow, whether it's jump rope or anything that you do to zone out? Have you ever noticed that you've gone a long time without feeling that and that you crave it and you try to seek it out?
Yes. It wouldn't be the jump roping because I do work out on a regular basis. That would probably go back to my Lifetime movie, actually.
You crave the Meredith Baxter
I
Bernie.
I crave my calm flow, I guess, if you will, my needing to zone out and have like peace and quiet, and
Good,
watching those movies when I'm feeling like not always stressed out, but just like I haven't had that time in a while. And I have
good.
3 boys in the house. Well, one man. Um, and so I will just literally say to my family, listen, I'm going to the bedroom. Like I check out, put
I love it.
Netflix on.
Good,
Once in a blue moon, I'll take a bath. And
good.
I have, it's called it's just relaxation. I think it's called Relaxation Radio on my
Oh,
Pandora. And it's beautiful.
oh,
It's
that's
beautiful.
good.
Now, like, of course, you and I with our music, like, I just love music. Like, that's where I get a lot of my ideas from. That's where like my soul is fed. Like, I just turn on all different kinds though.
Love
But
it.
the relaxation stuff when it's really calming and like a lot of piano type music,
Ooh.
instrumental, that's when I really feel like I just feel so good. Like I feel like somebody's giving me a hug good. So
Oh, that's good. And you're probably right. You're probably producing some oxytocin, some dopamine. And what you're doing is you're stimulating those different parts of your brain, the default creative network. So I would challenge you next time, keep a notebook by your bath and see what ideas you come up with and jot them down, because they can be like flashes of ideas and
yes.
creativity, and they're gone in an instant. So like,
They are. And
yeah.
what is that all about? Because I do
Well,
have that happen. Then I'm like, oh, I'll write it down, and then I don't. And then I'm like, what did I say? What was I thinking?
yes, it's because our brain can only hold 3 to 4 discrete items at once. And so we are stupid humans and we think, oh, that's an easy concept. I'll remember that. And I do it all the time. Oh, I'll remember that. And so now I carry little tiny notebooks with me, and I write stuff down, because otherwise it's gone. It'll be
That's
gone.
a great idea. And then I think you told me about teachable.com, and I listened to a webinar and they said if you are trying to create things and you have ideas, you should use the sticky notes. And literally,
Yeah.
like, you could have like sticky notes like all over the place in your office, but you'll need them and you'll be glad you have them.
Yes.
And they say a lot of people think that you have those up and you're just like unorganized.
Right.
It's like, no, I just have a lot of ideas.
Yes. People would just think we're brilliant, right? I remember an old college professor, and he had sticky notes everywhere. And I thought he was like the befuddled college professor, but he probably was doing the same thing, like really brilliant.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's cool. Okay. So tell me about, have you ever had any frustrating times where you feel like you had a mental block and you just can't think of an idea? And
Oh my gosh, yes. Like,
so what do you do? Do you just take a break, or do you like
yes.
punch a punching bag, or what do you do?
Well, in my mind, I punch the bag and I try to keep the humans away. But I do. I take a break. I remember back when I was in school and I would get really frustrated studying, and my mom would say, you need to walk away. You need to just like totally like disengage.
Good
for a
job,
while.
Gina.
And then come back to it, you know,
That's
because
awesome.
if you can only stare at something for so long before you're like, just, it's useless.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just need to hit the reset button sometimes. So usually I just step away for a little while and then come back to it.
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's perfect. And that, again, we can measure that. If we were to do a functional MRI of your brain, what we would see is, like, if you're studying, it's all up in that prefrontal cortex. It's all lighting up. And then the minute you say, okay, screw it, I'm taking a break, and you step away, it's all the other parts of your brain engage. And it allows this to take a break, but then it's still working. And then sometimes you make connections without even knowing it. Have you ever had a good idea in the shower?
Oh my gosh, yes. The shower and when I'm driving.
Yes, me too.
When I'm driving and listening to my music.
Oh my gosh.
But in the shower, I feel like I'm a celebrity, you know, and I'm like my own rock star because I like to sing in the shower. But yes, I will have really, really great ideas come to me in the shower.
That's
and
awesome.
then I'm using up too much water because then I just want to stay
Right.
in there longer. But absolutely. In the
Yay.
shower. You talked about that in another podcast, but I
Right.
can't remember exactly what you said, like why that happens.
Yeah, there's a researcher. They were actually researching for the company. I think it's Housegrove. It was like a shower head company. And the researcher's name was Scott. And it was in 2014. They did a study that 72% of people admit they have great ideas in the shower. And Dr. Carson, she's over in Harvard, she hypothesizes it's because when you're in the shower, you stop using that frontal part of your brain and you just sort of chill out and you take a break. And the water, everything is just so soothing, and it's really distracting in a point where you almost go into meditation, and that allows all that to bubble up. And it's just so great, because I think they should make like waterproof notebooks so you could sit there and write, you know, get all your ideas.
Oh, you're onto something.
Yes, yes.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, that would be great. But anyway, okay, so, oh, you've done so well.
Little
Okay,
whiteboard in the shower.
what'd you say?
Little whiteboard in the shower. Just like
Yes,
have it right in there.
there
Yeah.
you go. You have it all ready to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that for you.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that. Get to R&D. Make it happen. Okay, so one last
question.
next question.
Ready.
We're back in 2 and 2. Remember that? Was that the dating game? Back in 2.
Oh, sure. Yes, I think you're right, actually.
So yeah. Okay, so you're talking about creative flow and getting in the flow. If you had one piece of advice for people that are really burned out, and we're talking, you know, they're not happy with their career. It doesn't have to be a physician. It can be anybody, you know, just not happy, not feeling like they're in their zone and not speaking to their core. Like, you know, you made that massive change. You kind of disengaged from a career and said, I want to try something new. And what piece of advice would you give somebody who is just sort of there and feeling down?
Oh, golly, that's so deep. There you go again. Yeah, all this fun talk in the shower. And now I got to go deep. Oh gosh. Okay. So yes, if someone is like in the place I was in.
How about talk to yourself? Talk
Yes,
to yourself
myself.
like a year and a half ago. What would you say to yourself?
I would have changed things sooner, probably. I would have probably believed in myself more than I did when I decided to actually make that change, because I just felt like, I think you just identify with yourself so much when you've had a career for so long. You're like, who else am I supposed to be? And I still have people say, don't you do dental hygiene anymore? Like, is that the only thing people will ever see me as, you know? But I don't ever want people not to think that I'm not doing that anymore, because I'm it's on the shelf right now a little bit. There's like one person that I'm probably still going to like be working with, and I have other ideas. I think I've shared with you. I have some other ideas about being creative and still like using that part of me that I love. But if someone's not happy, I would tell them to really look at the rest of their life, like to really think about what kind of sacrifices they're making. You know, I think we worry too much about big things that are really important, like money and sending our kids to college and all of these things. And I know that there's probably people that are kind of stuck for good reason. But if there's any way that you can think outside that box and try to escape it, I think that you would. I think if you pictured yourself, right? Like maybe another analogy would work. Like, let's say you are trapped in some box. You probably would hate being in there. And you're probably going to do everything you can to escape, to get out.
Yeah.
So if that's how you feel, if you feel like you're just like locked into this box in wherever you're at right now in your life, career-wise, try to get out. Like, think of other ways
absolutely
to get out and do something.
You know what? And you're so brilliant in the fact that there are other ways of escaping. You know, if you can't escape your career right now, escape internally, you know, meditate, think about it, take your hot baths, you know, see what comes out of your brain. And like you said, we are 50 versions of ourselves. I mean, we are going to change in our life, and you can wear many hats. You don't have to be identified with the one career that you started off in college, you know? And I love that you can always reinvent yourself. And you give such great words of advice, Kim Love.
Oh, golly. Wow.
I appreciate it.
I learned it from you.
Oh, stop. Your tips are going to resonate with all our listeners and viewers as they're going to excavate their own flow recipe and learn how creativity helps thanks to you. And if people want to meet you, they can find you at StacySummer.com, correct?
Stacy Summers with an S.
Yes. Stacy Summers, so it's STACY Summers, s.com/Coach Kim Love.
Correct. You got it.
Yeah, you're going to be changing lives and using that creative noggin to make people feel healthy, wealthy, and wise. So thank you. And if you want to,
having me.
Oh my gosh,
so fun.
It was great. We're going to have to do part 2, I'm sure. I'll have to dig up more photos next time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, some band photos.
Yeah. Ooh,
our band camp photos. Remember we went to band camp?
Oh goodness, there are stories.
In love with that one boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, we might have to have part 2 with Kim Love. We'll have to see. We'll have to check back in and see where you're at in a year. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
And if you want to learn more about Right Brain Rescue, please visit www.rightbrainrescue.com, where I have a self-paced and guided method to help you tap into your innate creativity, so you can help your own burned out physicians and colleagues learn how to use your right brain and thrive in a toxic system. Thanks again. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and if you're ready to dive deeper, get your admitting orders at rightbrainrescue.com. Until next time, keep finding your flow, because creativity matters. Bye.